While in a hilarious vacuum, I'm starting to notice the trend. We all thought that the Sanders campaign was going to the center of the Democratic Party in economic populism and a universalist program response. On the contrary, liberals seem to be saying, nah, just improve Obamacare. Well, you should work for your college degree and stop bringing up Iraq, and you couldn't even vote. Yeah, I think this is a yes and no. I mean, I do think the party is moving into a more progressive direction, and it's also just getting split because if this was Europe, this would be multiple different parties. And at Demos and Vox, the most vibrant, explicit left voices are being outright censored, if not straight up fired on spurious grounds. I agree with you on Matt Brunig. I think it was ridiculous he was fired from everything I know. It was absurd. I think the Vox thing was just a guy on Twitter saying that there should be riots at Trump rallies, which, or violence, which I don't agree with. But, I mean, it's a Vox editor. I mean, you know what? If a Vox editor is able to start a riot, I'll vote for Donald Trump in the sense that will never happen. If they find a Vox editor who has the sort of, would you imagine like some guys like sitting around a bar being like, you know what? We stop Trump. Like drinking like Goldschlager. All of a sudden, like, oh, let me actually check my Twitter feed and see what the Vox editor said. He said we should have violence. Let's go to a Trump rally and friggin' tear it up. He sent out a tweet. Who cares? It's insane they suspended him. And today, partisan Dem extraordinaire Joy Reid is putting up trial balloons for a primary against Sanders. Oh, that is such, you know what? That is really disgusting for a candidate who knows how to work in coalitions. My fear is that this election is resulting in a purge of leftists from liberal organizations. What do you all think? I think that you are seeing that to a certain extent. And I think that there needs to be a different and alternative institution building. And I think, but I also think there's a line here. There's three different points. One is the policy point that you're raising. The other point is like when it comes to social media, I'm sorry, people also just generally need to like grow up and stop having these ridiculous flame wars on social media. Like ultimately it doesn't lead to much. And then actually connected to that, but not necessarily the same thing, is I do think that there is, is the issue really with Bernie's policies or more that he's jeopardizing Hillary? And, Matt Brunig wrote great radical critiques at Demos for a long time. But then he, offended Neera Tanden. So, like those are a different set of questions in terms of patronage and power. But I think, there needs to be obviously alternative networks built.
Though I'd also not be so pessimistic and think we're losing every single battle in this, because Cornel West is on the DNC platform committee.
Exactly.
They're going to fight back, but that doesn't mean that they're going to win. It's going to take multiple battles, and I don't think like this election is going to be our D-Day where Bernie's going to ride to office. I hope that happens still, but I kind of don't see that happens. And if it doesn't, we need to prepare for the next, battle.
Exactly. And I think the trend lines are still there in terms of where this party is going. I mean, in terms of just if you want to be a Democratic politician in the 21st century going forward, you had better at least pretend to have a progressive agenda. And obviously, I'm being very tongue in cheek. You better have a progressive agenda. Speaking of which, I want to just comment briefly.
Hello, you. I'm Sam Seder. Looking for smart progressive talk that is occasionally amusing? Well, subscribe to our YouTube feed. Subscribe to our podcast. Like us on Facebook. And just generally enjoy us.